Hello, and welcome to Book 6, Chapter 6 of You Should Be Reading. Today, I would like to talk to you about Meddling Kids by Edward Cantero. Now, Meddling Kids is a fun little, kind of spooky story. It may sound familiar. You've got four kids, a tomboy, a nerd, a bookworm, and a jock, and a dog solving mysteries. Does this sound familiar? Yes. It is absolutely paying homage to the old classic Scooby Doo cartoons. And this particular book is about a group of friends from a small town. You've got Andy, who's the tomboy. Uh, you've got Nate, who is the nerd. You've got Carrie, who is the bookworm. And you've got Peter, who is the jock. And then their dog, Tim. And they solved a mystery uh, about this amphibian monster that was terrorizing their little town. They went and spent a night in a mansion, and they apprehended a bitter old man in a mask after setting a trap. And they were like featured in the paper, uh, Blyton Hills is the quiet town. They're famous little children detectives. And apparently they had other adventures after that. And this was all back in 1977. And then they grew up. And it is now 1990. And they are in their 20s, mid 20s, maybe, a little later. Uh, and none of them are sleeping very well, except for Peter, the jock, because he's dead. Because he was in Hollywood and apparently overdosed. And Andy, the tomboy, she goes and hunts down the old man that they apprehended all those years ago because he's out of prison now. And she kind of, well, she goes to get some answers from him, we'll say, and finds out they got the wrong guy. Something else is going on, or was going on back then. And Andy decides to get Nate and Carrie and take them back to Blyton Hills to find out what was really going on. And this is where it starts to get spooky because it kind of delves into like sort of like Lovecraftian territory, eldritch monsters, weird magic, and so on and so forth. And it gets into some spooky stuff. And that's where the spoilers end because I don't want to spoil this book. It's a really good book, um, but it's quite interesting in how it lays everything out because it plays with the tropes. It subverts them, some of them, anyways, at least a little bit. Other ones it kind of plays straight. It leaves you guessing as you are going on, and it builds the mystery more and more until it finally gets to the reveal and cool things happen. Uh, Mystical weird shit happens, and the mystical weird shit can also kind of be explained by science. So you're kind of left in this limbo of like, did that really happen? Did they just imagine it? Um, but also, no, it definitely happened. But also, maybe it didn't. Like it is a very cool the way this story is laid out. It does a lot of really neat things, um, and best of all, you have the fact that Andy, who is kind of the the main character, I believe it jumps back and forth between actual like points of view between the three. Um, but Andy is, I believe, the first one we see. Uh, and she, bless her heart, I adore her. She is such a wonderful character. Um, Nate is a really interesting character because when you first run into him, he has checked himself into a mental hospital because he's having, night terrors and such. And there's like stuff that's bothering him. And due to a number of reasons, Andy kind of has to break Nate out. Pardon me. Yeah, kind of has to break Nate out, which is interesting. It's wild, some of the stuff that they do, um, but I like it because it has that energy of uh, being kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon. It has that infectious energy of like, yeah, we can do anything, um, while also kind of being grounded in like, well, maybe we shouldn't. It's They do a lot of cool things in this book. I praise Edgar Cantero. I believe in the next episode of You Should Be Reading, I'm going to cover another book of his because you are introduced to a character just kind of like randomly, and I never thought much about it until I found out there was a second book set in the same universe featuring that character. And that's the one I'll talk about next time. And it does some really interesting things. But yes, there's a lot going on in this book, and it's not that hard of a read. They have fun playing with the tropes, subverting them, playing them straight. Uh, they have fun with the dog because the dog is long since gone, but they have a descendant of that dog with them who seems to be just as smart. Uh, and yeah, it's quite interesting. I enjoyed it immensely. It filled the warm uh, container of nostalgia where my heart is. Uh, and I think that perhaps some of you out there would enjoy it as well. Uh, Now I can't talk too much about it as much as I would like to just delve into each and every part of it. But that would be getting into heavy spoiler territory, and this is a book best left unspoiled. So I'm just going to leave it there. If anything I have said here makes you think that you might like this book, check it out. Uh, so that's going to be it for today. Until next time, as always, please give a like. Feel free to leave a comment down there in the comment section. Let me know if you've read this, what you think of it. Spoiler free, of course. Um, Let me know if you have any other books that you think I might like to read. Suggest to me. I love hearing from people. And not ring the bell. You can ring the bell if you want. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't, so you can be kept apprised of when I put out new videos. And otherwise, until next time, remember, you should be reading Meddling Kids by Edward Cantero. And I'll see you next time.